Hello, everyone. I'm going to record announcements separately, and I'm thinking right now I'll do this about once a week. And so these are, you know, things that I would do at the start of class. And I think it just kind of sets the assignment, review where we've been, address any questions or concerns. Normally in class, you just ask the class, does anybody have any questions? How's it going for everyone? And I'm hoping that we can do that online through the discussion posts and that you'll feel comfortable communicating in that way. But I think through this will kind of serve the purpose of those, the little chat at the beginning of class. Um, I won't tell my jokes and joke around with you because that doesn't really work. It's like I'm an old man, so I watch talk shows occasionally, the nightly talk shows, and watching Jimmy Fallon do his monologue to an empty room is just painful, I gotta tell you. Not that I have a monologue, but anyway, so wasting enough time at the beginning of class, right? A minute being friendly. That's what I usually want to do. Just make you feel at ease that you can ask questions. And so this review, I have this posted so you can see the handout. And normally I don't do that, right? It's just kind of written on the board. Here's what the assignment is, and we talk about it. So in some ways, this might be better um, because you can use this as sort of a checklist, right? So this week in Gen Chem, it happens to be Saturday. I don't know if I'll always do it on Saturday. The list of assignments, things I asked you to do this past week, and you can just go and check off. Did I remember to do all these things? Maybe I said it verbally and you missed it. I try not to do that, especially in this environment. It should be written down always. But so you can go through that checklist. Then I'll make some announcements about the next week and then any comments or common questions from the discussion posts or emails I've gotten. And so that's kind of the setup how I want to do these, and hopefully it'll kind of keep everybody engaged with the class in that way. You know, um, so last week, this previous week, what I asked you to do is start reading the chapter. Hopefully you've done that. Register for the first exam. We know that was kind of like, okay, it was there and then it was gone. But within a few hours anyway, they got it fixed. So that was good. It was just a little bit of you know, an email flurry, but that's okay. Uh, so hopefully you have gotten registered for the first exam now, and you can pick any time in there. Doesn't matter to me. And in fact, I can't see that. I don't know when anyone's taking the exam. I don't know how many people have set an appointment for it. So those are things I can't see. I do have a link posted for that on Desire to Learn off to the right where all those links are. And so you can please do that if you haven't done that already. It's just for your benefit to be able to do it when it works for you. And logging on to Desire to Learn, making sure you can find everything. I can kind of see, well, I can definitely see everybody, whether they've been in, and I can see whether you've viewed the content for this week. And so once things settle down and I can open my eyes again, I will go through and update the participation points on web assignment. I'll do that periodically. I'll just go in and see, okay, who viewed the content. Like we talked about this in the when I did the tour of D2L and talked about the syllabus. So make sure that you've viewed those. Now, I can't see that you've viewed it all the way to the end. We already talked about that, but you have to at least click on everything so that I can see that you're at least there, right? 80% of success in life is just showing up. So make sure you can find everything, you viewed the content and used it to help you once we start getting into more chemistry. And then the big assignment was getting everyone into WebAssign. Um, because that's where all the homework is, that's where lab reports will be, and that's not always as easy as I would like it to be. So I know there were, for some of you, some complications if you weren't on the original class roster, and I I tried to respond as fast as I could, um, and get those issues straightened out for you. But I'm super fired up. 215 out of 228 is completed, logging on to WebAssign. And so we are actually ahead of the normal pace. It was a little bit rockier because normally I just have my door open. You can't, if you can't get in, I tell you, stop by, hop on my computer. I'll show you how to log on if there's any problem. So the rest of you, if you haven't done that yet, please do it as soon as possible, just in case you're one of the rare students where there's a problem getting in, so that I can help you with that. Because stuff's starting to come due this next week, right? The elements homework will be due. And then it looks like, yeah, 186 out of 228 have done that first elements assignment. So that's pretty good, right? There's always the people like me who wait till the last second to do it. But that's good. So I feel good about this. And any questions and posting an email, I think we're doing good on that. In fact, the communication is always a challenge in a large class, whether we're in person or not. And so for that, I think I'm going to actually skip down to here and just discuss that, because that's where my brain went, and I'll go back to the announcements for next week. So I got a lot of emails this week, and because of the exam registration thing, students having trouble getting to WebAssign and other questions, and that's great. I want you to absolutely email me if you have any questions. If it's something that pertains to the whole class, it's best if you can post it as a discussion post to Desire to Learn. I talked about that when we did the tour. The reason for that is everyone can see it. So for instance, the question about WebAssign access and the textbook, or not being able to get into WebAssign, then I can, answer, and everyone can see that answer. So just to talk in general a little bit, I think that I would do this much better talking to you, so that hopefully you can pick up on that I'm trying to be understanding and empathetic, and I don't know if that comes across on video at all. But here's the deal. I know it can be very, very confusing, right? And the way this semester is starting, with being, whatever you want to classify this class. They've said I can't say it's an online class, but it's a hybrid class because we are meeting face-to-face for some labs. And so it's a little confusing, right? When you see that, and right away, are we supposed to meet? Are we supposed to meet on Zoom? So I did say when we went through the syllabus and that introductory video, and on the syllabus, it says, there's no in-person meetings. And I do want to say that this, it's not my choice, right? I don't get to decide on this. So the fact that we aren't meeting in person is, I'm not happy about it either, because it's certainly a lot easier for me to go in and teach a class in person. It's a lot more enjoyable. I get to meet you and know you. I'm guessing I'm going to have to do way, way more work this semester to try and make it good for you, and without the rewards of getting to know some cool students and talk to you in person and enjoy that. So it's very confusing, but that's the way it is. We don't have class in person. We are not going to meet in person at a specific time on Zoom. I'm not doing Zoom. I could revisit that later for office hours if people think it would be helpful. But this is an asynchronous class, which means it doesn't meet at a specific time. not synchronized, right? Asynchronous. And so we don't meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Uh, I'm following a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule in terms of posting content uh, because that's the structure of the class. You will sort of be able to work through it. Yeah, no, you can't really work through it at your own pace because I'm going to post things as I go. There won't be much ability to work ahead. But the Zoom thing, I've been on Zooms and had it lock up all the time, and I just don't see the benefit with 230 students. Uh, I can rethink that if there's a strong push for that, but it's hard for me to understand why seeing my face to answer the questions would be helpful. I think it's better if you ask a question about chemistry and you can see me writing and solving the problem that way. So we'll just see how it goes for now with the homework. Now, here's the deal. You all know that last spring USD shut down, as did the entire nation at spring break. And I surveyed those students as we were going through to ask them, how things were going and stuff like that. And the class actually did better in terms of completing the homework and completing the class than we usually do. There was a higher percentage completing it in that mode. And it didn't hurt my feelings at all, but there were quite a few students who said they liked it better that way. They liked it better without me, right? But anyway, so I think it's going to go okay based on how it went with the Chem 114 students. And that material is pretty difficult, and they did great. So we'll see how that goes. Then the other question is this WebAssign access and textbook, and I apologize for how confusing that is. I liked it, when it was a lot simpler and there was one option. Here's what you need for the class. So you need WebAssign access, you have to pay for it, and you need a textbook, whatever combination works for you, whether it's Cengage Unlimited or just if you like an ebook, the WebAssign with the ebook in it. I tend to think that you need a physical book, but I'm old as dirt and I would not read a book online. There's some mental processing involved in writing and taking notes. And so but that's just me, right? You're a different generation. So whatever works for you, and I wish it wasn't so confusing, but I answered those questions as best I can, but my basic answer is whatever works for you. I don't know the right answer. So it's been really busy. I've tried to answer and help you as fast as I can. Make sure that if there's something that you can ask that pertains to everybody that's not specific to you, if you could post that to the discussion posts on the Desire to Learn, that would be a lot better, I think, for everyone. So I keep a folder that has all my messages pertaining to the course, both the ones, that way I can find stuff, right? So both the ones I got from you and the ones I've sent back out, and that way I can tell I've responded. And I usually expect to have a few thousand for a course, and that's great. We already have in 1 week 25% as many as we had last fall. So once my eyes stop bleeding from being up half the night, I'll be fine. But I want to help you out, but it'll be a lot easier for everyone if we can see everyone's answers by posting to the discussion groups, and check to see if there's a thread there already instead of posting the thread again. Just look, well, did somebody already ask this, and does that answer my question? That way you can get help a little faster too, and I'll be able to. I think that I kept up in terms of answering everyone within 24 hours. I might have went over 24 hours on a couple of them, but I certainly did the best I could. It'll help though. I think you'll get a quicker response if we can post them to that discussion post and have kind of like magnify my efforts a little bit so more people can get help that way. So that's the goal. All right, what else was I gonna say? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So the confusing communication with a large class, that happens whether we're in person or online. And especially when you're a new student, it, the freshmen, first year students, everything is new and you got to kind of figure it all out. And this is a lot hard because you don't, I think there's something, at least hopefully, my hope when I teach a class is when you come to class, at least you see me there and I'm cheerful. I try to be cheerful and encouraging, and you get a little bit hopeful, hopefully some reassurance from that. I don't know how to do that across this, so I'm doing the best I can. But I, in class, what I'll do is I'll say, "Do you have time for a boring story?" And everyone will say, "No." No, sometimes they say yes. But anyway, I can remember one of the cool things about being a teacher is you can remember back to when you were a student because you've never really left. And so I remember my confusion when I was a freshman student and just being in the science building the first time. And I don't know what, this was the energy crisis era way back then, and they were, trying to save energy, which is good, a noble goal, but they had all the lights off. And it was a huge building with no windows, right? Interior hallways with no windows, and all the lights are off. And I'm extremely nearsighted. I cannot see in the dark at all. And I'm like just wandering around. I can't find my way out of this building. Anyway, so I understand being a little confused. You can skip over this video if you want. So, announcements for next week. I think maybe I'll put a schedule in so tell you where you can skip, because now that I'm to the announcements, this is the part where I want you to listen. I probably lost you with my boring stories. All right, so the announcements. I goofed on the lab schedule. Usually we don't have lab that first full week of class. And I don't know what got into my brain thinking that we could pull it off when we're, going half, hybrid remote with this. And so I need additional time in order to make sure everyone's in WebAssign. If you're not in WebAssign, you can't do lab. And I was kind of panicking on Thursday when I, was communicating with 30 different people, telling them, here's how you get in, here's how you get in, here's. So that plus getting the TAs in and getting things set up a little better. We're not going to do labs next week. We don't normally do labs the first full week. So I'm just going to push it back a week. I am going to ask you to submit the safety agreements. You'll see the assignment. Just go in WebAssign. All you got to do is read it, scroll down to the bottom and say, I agree. Click on the I agree and submit it. And you'll get the, points for that. So that's, I goofed in terms of setting up the schedule on Desire to Learn for lab. And so we'll just push it back a week like it normally would be. Then I added the SI information onto Desire to Learn. So your SI is Allison Giese. I put the information she gave me is linked over in that right side of Desire to Learn. So I didn't have it. It wasn't there when I did the D2L tour, but it's there now. It's over in that same place off to the side with all the other, information. And so you can click on that, see her introductory video, and see the little poster that she has with all the information of when they meet and everything. Then the Chapter 1 textbook homework. I think on the schedule I originally had that Friday. I rethought that's going to be Monday, just because Monday is when I post the actual conversions, examples, and stuff like that. And so I thought it'd be better to have that content there before you start the homework. All right, and then we'll start Chapter 2 on Wednesday. So you'll begin reading Chapter 2 Wednesday, and then you'll see that content and homework show up throughout the week, and I'll update the schedule that's posted there too. All right, so hopefully I didn't go on too long there in the middle. I think what I'll try and do is in the YouTube put at this time this, at this time this, you know, in those little down below, so you can see that and you can say, well, I'm going to skip to minute 17. All right, I hope you had a good first week at USD and that you're adjusting and everyone's doing okay. And you have a good week, and let me know if you need any help with anything. Thank you.